we've got a different expansion video for you here today because I'm going to be showing it to you in Ableton Live. So I've got Ableton Live 11 and I've got the Suite and I've also got the Push 2 here. And what I'm going to be doing is showing you the newest expansion from Native Instruments called Concrete Sun. It's totally different. It's got Japanese hip hop style to it, and it's made by Japanese hip hop artists. I'm not going to be making Japanese hip hop music anytime soon, but having these sounds as a palette, as a different palette for me to work with is really exciting. So all I'm going to do is go through a couple of the kits that I've got loaded in Ableton, not using the Maschine, but I am using Kit Maker here. As you see, I've got a video on this. I'll put a link to that in the description where I talk about how to take expansions from Native Instruments and convert them into drum racks here in Ableton. So all you have to do is drag your expansion right onto Kit Maker, and then it does its magic, and then you end up with this beautiful folder of kits from the expansion groups. So we're gonna look at a bunch of the kits here and maybe some of the other samples and just give you an idea of what this library is all about. Make sure you go check the other links and everything like that. I do have affiliate links in the description for the expansion, so if you buy it from that link, I'll get a little kickback, but just make sure it's right for you and something that you're gonna benefit from, because we all need to hang on to our dollars as much as possible right now. So let's check out this expansion, play around with it a little bit. I'll just come up with a couple of little beats and give you a good idea of what's in here and help you decide if this is something that's right for you. So the first one I'm gonna play with is called the Kirin Kit, or probably Kirin. So I go over to my user kits down here and you can see Kit Maker kits, and I can see the Concrete Sun library right there. Just drag and drop. And some of the samples, you'll see that they don't load up anything at all. And that's probably because there was an actual synth in the original group. So it's only the samples that make it over in Kit Maker kits. So right away, all of the samples are being treated with this one-shot mode. And some of them you don't want to just keep going. So you might want to put that to classic mode. And now, any of those ones that we set to classic mode, you have to hold down the note to hear it. And then as soon as you let your finger off, it stops playing. I love that sound. I love this sound right here. And I like this bass. So I think I'm gonna actually use those as individual tracks and turn them into like a bass track and a little synthesizer track. So all we need to do on the push here is click convert, and then we're gonna convert this bass to a MIDI track. And now you can see we've got a bass C Kirin, and then that's the sample name is put next to it. So now I can play. Unfortunately, it doesn't loop forever. So let's turn the loop on. We'll set it to loop right here. Let's change the start of the loop right there and the length of the loop right here. I'll crank the fade up a bit, and we can do that from the push as well. So I've got the length right here, and crank this down to get the start of the loop. And let's do a little bit longer on the fade. And then you see how it goes faster as I play higher up the keyboard. That means it's cycling through this loop at a faster speed, and we're gonna hear that loop crossover point a little easier. If we set the warp button right here and we turn the warp on, watch what happens. It's gonna travel through this sample at the same speed. So it's actually using time stretching algorithms to change the pitch of the bass, which is beautiful, a really easy way to do things in Ableton. And then I'm gonna go over to this piano track, this piano sample, and again, I'm gonna go convert, and we're gonna convert that to a MIDI track. You can hear the sample's a little off, so let's change the start time right there. And I love this about the push. This is one of my favorite things is the feedback that you get on the screen itself. Watch what happens as I change the gain. There's a lot of devices where you don't get to see stuff. You just know that it's adding volume to something. So I do love that. So right now our envelope isn't great because it's just playing the note. Go over to the main here, and we're gonna set this to classic. And then we're gonna go to our envelope and play with the release. And again, another beautiful thing about this push is this feedback that you get. I love the way things are drawn out. And I know that this is already a C, so I don't have to re-pitch these samples, which is really nice. So let's go back to the kit for a sec and play around with this sound right here. I really like this as well. It might work out. Let's hit the convert button, convert it to a MIDI track. So I feel like if we start this one off a lot sooner, we need a drum kit in here, and I'm going to actually load up a different drum kit for this so we can see what some of the other drum kits sound like. So let's just try something super random and just drag something over. Mirin and Kirin. Somebody Japanese tell us what that means. Oh wow. Let's try another kit. Turn the metronome off. We'll go over to our piano track now. We'll play something in. We'll punch something in with the bass. And let's set the voices on this one to 1. And then we'll set the portamento on as well, so we can slide up to notes. So we're just making synth patches out of these single samples. Last thing we'll do is go over to this little sound effects sound we got. Kind of a simple little idea, not the usual kind of stuff I come up with, but just kind of got inspired by those fun little sounds. Let's try a totally different project now. All right, for this one, we're going to try loading up a loop. There's a ton of really interesting loops that will give you a totally different palette to work from. And in this one, I'm also going to try playing around with maybe some presets on synthesizers, because most of these expansions come with presets for things like Massive, Monarch, and Prism. So let's look at this wind loop right here. Really nice. Let's drop that onto a MIDI track, and then we're going to convert that track to a simpler. We could try slicing that up. Okay, so this slice here we don't really need. Let's just delete that one. We don't need that one either. So I'm going to convert that to a drum rack. That's kind of our longest sample, so I might want to duplicate that and then see if I can pitch it up. We'll duplicate this one over here. Go down a semitone. Okay, I'm really digging the sound of that. Let's go over to this Yamamoto Kit. I really like the drum sound on that. It's very different from stuff that I would normally use. Let's convert that into a simpler. And then we're just going to slice that up. Looks perfect. And then we're going to convert that into a drum rack. Do you know what I'm going to do on this little drum rack? I'm going to put my snares in, change the color of them. So hold Shift, click that guy, and we'll just give it a slightly different color so that I can see it. Now it's really easy for me to see the kick drums on this little drum rack. And now let's play along with this. Okay, and then let's get some hi-hats. So we're going to go over and find another loop. That's really nice. Let's drop that one in. And by the way, all of these samples are just found in the Concrete Sun folder. So I just went to the actual Concrete Sun folder, see samples, and you see them under drums and loops and stuff like that. Should have mentioned that earlier. All right, here is the loop. Let's convert that into a simpler. I'm just going to slice this up anyways. And we're going to go and have a look at some massive patches, see what we can find in terms of the patches that come with this expansion specifically. So I'm just going to go over to plugins, and there's massive, drag that onto a track. And if I go over to the browser in massive, here we can see the sounds over on the left-hand side, and I'm just going to scroll through my various expansions. There we can see Concrete Sun, massive sounds. So here we can see the patches that come with the expansion. So let's go with this bass patch here. And for this one, we're going to go to complete control. So I've got a complete control track here, and we'll go to Monark, and then we're going to go to Banks, and we're going to go to Concrete Sun, and there we can see the patches. Oh, that's a nice bass. And let's put some reverb and delay on it. Okay, so now we're just going to play a little solo thing on here and play this out. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I hope it gives you a little bit more of an idea of what's in here and how you can use these samples and sounds inside Ableton. I've got another video where I talk about using expansions inside Ableton. I'll put a link to that in the description. Thanks so much. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell, and we'll see you in the next video.